לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 15, the Hunaranana. Hunaranana l'Adonai, Na'ariya l'Sur Yishenu, Mafana b'toda, Bismirot Na'ariya lo. 40 shana akut bedor, Va'omar amtoe levavhem behem lo yadu derachai, asher nishpati be'api im yevun el menuchati. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai baruch hu shemo basru miyom leyom yeshuato, sapru bagoyim kevodo bechol ha'amim nifleotav ki gadol Adonai u'hulam me'od gorahu al kol Elohim yalai 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 Sadai v'chol asher bo, az yiranu kol etzei ya'ar, lifnei Adonai kiva, kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek ve'amim b'emunato. Adonai malach tagil haaretz yismechuim rabim, and vrafel svivav tzedek mishpat mechon kiso. Page 17. Shama Ki ata Adonai elyon al kol haaretz, me'od na'aleta al kol Elohim. Ohave Adonai misinu ra, shomer nafshot chasidav miyad rishayim yatzilem. Or zaru ala tzadik u'lishrei lev simcha. Simchu tzadikim b'Adonai v'hodu lezecher kodsho. Shir l'Adonai shir chadash kinflot asa, hoshia lo yemino uzro kadsho. Lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek ve'amim b'meisharim. The bottom of the page, on page 19. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu Behar Kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu
Behar Kodsho.
Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu Behar Kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu Behar Kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Mizmor leDavid Havul Adonai b'nirim. Havul Adonai kavod ba'od. Havul Adonai kevod shemo yishtachavu Adonai b'hadrat kodesh. Ol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod irim. Adonai hamayim rabim. Ol Adonai v'koach. Ol Adonai behada. Ol Adonai shover arazim. V'shaber Adonai et arzei havanon. V'yarkidem k'mo egel Lebanon. V'Sirion k'mo ben re'imim. Kol Adonai chosef lavatish. Kol Adonai yachil midbar. Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh. Kol Adonai cholel ayalot. Vayecheso be'aron u'beheichalo kulo al merkavot. Adonai la'mavu yashar v'yeshem. Adonai melech le'olam. Adonai oz le'amo yitzen. Adonai yevarech damo v'shalom. Lai 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 lai. Echadodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Echadodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad. Tishmi'anu el hamichad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad. L'shemo tiferet v'tila. Lechadodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat elchu v'nechad. Ki mekor hamiracha merosh mikedem esucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tefila. Lechadodi kabela lechanoni likrat kala Shabbat nekabel mikdash melech melucha kum yitzeim mitocha hafecha kala shevet bi'emek habacha vehu yachamol alaychem lechanoni likrat kala Shabbat nekabela Lechanoni likrat kala Shabbat nekabela Hinari ve'afar gomi Nifshi bigdeti partehami Al yad ben isha Vitalachmi Korba el nafshi ge'ala Lechanoni likrat kala Shabbat nekabela Lechanoni likrat kala Shabbat nekabela Hitoreri Ki ba'oreh Kumi ori Shudaberi Kevod Adonai alayich Lechanoni likrat kala Shabbat nekabela Lechanoni likrat kala Shabbat nekabela Yaminu smolti frotzi V'yet Adonai ta'aritzi Al yayish ben tarzi V'nisnecha v'nagila Ay alay lecha dodi Ay alay likrat kala Ay alay puni Shabbat Ay alay nekabela Boi beshalom ateret bala Gam besimcha ubetzahola Toch emunei am segula Boi chala Ay alay lecha dodi Ay alay likrat kala Ay alay peni Shabbat Ay alay nekabela Ay alay lecha dodi Ay alay likrat kala Ay alay peni Shabbat Ay alay nekabela
Traditionally, when one sits Shiva, one remains within the home. The exception being on Shabbat, when the mourners come into the community and we welcome them after L'chadodi with the words of comfort, Hamakom Yenachem Etchem B'toch Sha'ar Avelei Tzion V'Yerushalayim. May you be comforted together with all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem.
Amen.
Return to page 23. Mizmor shir, shir leyom ha-Shabbat. Mizmor shir, shir leyom ha-Shabbat. Tov lehodo l'Adonai, lezamer shimcha elyon lagid baboker chastecha ve'emunacha ba'leilor. Mizmor shir, shir leyom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir, Mizmor Shir, Shir LeYom HaShabbat, Ale Asor Ale Navel, Ale Gayon, Gayon Bechinor, Kise Matani Adonai before Alecha b'mase yadecha aranin Mizmor Shir, Mizmor Shir, Shir leyom HaShabbat, Mizmor Shir, Mizmor Shir, Shir leyom HaShabbat. Od Yenuvum B'Seva D'Shenim V'Ranim Yolagit Ki Yashar Adonai Tzuri V'Lo Avlatavo Adonai Malaki Levesh Adonai Zizar Afti Konte Fel Palti Motna Hirotecha Nemenu Modo V'Decha Nava Kodesh Adonai Yorech Yamim. We invite the mourners to unmute. Mourners Kaddish, page 24.
Yitgadal, Yitgadal,
Amen.
Yalmati Rakirate, Yamlif Mapute, B'chayelon, Yamelon, B'chayed Apokit, Ba'agala, Bisman, Amen.
Amen.
Yehi,
Shiravam,
Rach, Leolam, Leomaya. Yitara, 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 Yitase. Yitada, Yitale, Yitala, Sheme, the Kodesha, Brichu. Ela, Yiko, Birchata, Veshirata, Shushvata, Menachamata, Damiram, Bimru, Amen. Yeshua, Rabba, Shemaya, Aim Aleinu, Yaakov, Israel, Limru, Amen.
Amen.
Oseh,
Shalom B'Rama,
Uya, Asa,
Asa
Shalom,
Shalom,
Aleinu,
Aleinu
Yaakov,
Yaakov
Israel,
Israel,
Limru, Amen.
Amen.
They're too slow.
We continue with the Ma'ariv service on page 28. Baruch hu et Adonai Amivorach. Baruch Adonai Amivorach li'alam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai ani melech olam asher pifaro ma'arim v'ravim b'chokmah v'ta'ashanim. El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Amari Baravim Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadita al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shokvenu v'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha v'mitzvotecha li'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu v'yorech yamenu v'yorech yamenu uvahem nege yomam v'layla yomam v'layla v'ahavatcha tasir mimenu li'olamim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Elohim ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאותה ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם המזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Read silently pages 30 and 31. למען יבוא ימיך וימי פניך ואתם אשר נשבעת עליך נמצאים בשמיים לארץ, ויאמר אדוני אשר נפדה בית זכרם וריתם אותו זכרתם מכל מצוות אדוני. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת ויאמר כל זאת וקיים עלינו כי הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואין זולתו, ואנחנו ישראל עמו אבותינו מיד מלכים. ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם, משה ובני ישראל חנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורתי לא רוסף למלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה זה לי ענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. We join together, top of page 33. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מתנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מתנו לחיים. ופרוס ואנשך שמק ותקנין לביאת את אופן מפני כי אל מלכנו ורחומתה ושמות. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Top of page 34. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובן בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל lasoret ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. יתגדע ויתגדע שמי הרבה, בימדי ורתירותי בימליך מלכותי, בחיי כל ויום אחד וחיי דכו בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם עולם ימיה, יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלה, שמלכות הבריחו לעלמין כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן, ויאמרו amen. We pause for silent reflection. An opportunity to engage in personal prayer with God, the Amidah, can be found on page 35. Prayer for peace. Ose shalom bimromav, Oyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimro yimru amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael. V'yimeru amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone. So tomorrow morning, we're going to read the 10 Commandments. I figured that gave me 10 options as to what I could talk about. And having watched the incredible sense of honor that the rabbi displayed for his father this week, I decided I'm going to speak on number 5. It made sense. The 5th of the 10 Commandments reads, honor your father and your mother that you may long endure on the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Noting that we are commanded to honor both our parents and God, the rabbis equated the honor due parents to that due God as well. And yet the parameters of the commandment are unclear. What exactly is required of us to fulfill this commandment and what isn't? Neither Exodus nor Deuteronomy fleshes out precisely what honoring parents requires. Through a careful reading of other biblical texts about filial duties, some scholars attempt to construct at least a partial picture. Advocating adherence to parental teachings, Proverbs offers Shema b'ni musar avicha v'al titosh torat imecha. Heed, my son, the discipline of your father, and do not forsake the instructions of your mother. In next week's Torah reading, it is clear that striking or insulting a parent is strongly prohibited, even in certain points considered a capital offense. And then additionally, as we read in Psalm 91, honoring has nuances of caring and showing affection. At the same time, modern scholars disagree over whether honoring parents entails obeying them. Jeffrey Tegay writes that one aspect of honoring is respect, which includes obedience to parents, and that's supported by Richard Nelson, who adds that to honor means to submit appropriately to authority. On the other hand, Walter Brueggemann argues that the command does not advocate obeying or being subordinate, and Terence Fretheim opines that for the Torah, obedience is not at the center of what it means to honor. Still, there are yet other scholars who insist that trying to define in an exact way, an exact understanding of honoring, might be asking too much of the 5th commandment. Peter Enns maintains that the 10 commandments are consistently ambiguous. He proposes that the purpose of the 10 commandments is to reveal to the Israelites a bit of who God is and a knowledge that must translate into appropriate behavior on their part. In other words, as glimpses into the nature of God and God's relationship with Israel, the 10 commandments are not exhaustive pieces of legislation that account for each and every contingency. They are to be obeyed, however. The question is how? And that is a matter of continual reflection as we live and grow in the shadow of God's love and protection. On the other hand, halakha, Jewish law, always seeks concrete applications, lest divine commands remain at the level of abstraction. And accordingly, then, the sages ask, well, what is meant by norah, by reverence? And they teach it means one should not sit in one's parents' place, speak in their presence, or contradict their words. And what is meant by kaved, by honor? The Talmud offers one should feed one's parents, give them drink, help them get dressed, welcome them when they come home, and escort them when they go out. But again, strikingly, nothing is said about an obligation to obey one's parents. This leaves open to the interpreter to make a judgment. Does such an obligation exist in halakha? Or conversely, is its existence so self-evident that it doesn't even require an explicit mention? One thing that is clear, there are limits on what a parent can ask. A parent cannot demand that a child sin. There's a law in Leviticus that says, you shall each revere your mother and father and keep my Sabbaths. I am the Lord your God. And the Midrash in response asks the question, could it be that if one's father or mother instructed one to transgress one of the commandments in the Torah, one should obey them? And in response, we are told that is why the text says, and keep my Sabbaths, because our primary obligation remains to God. A child's sense of how to best fulfill his commandments, his religious obligations, is also enough to override his parents' express wishes. Joseph Caro in the Shulchan Aruch says, if a student wishes to move to another place where he's certain that he will benefit greatly from the rabbis that live there, and his father forbids him to go, he need not abide by his father's wishes. There are a number of Jewish legal sources that open the door yet further, indicating that parents cannot thwart their child's subjective sense of well-being. Rabbi Moshe Isserles wrote in the 16th century, so this is not modern thought, this is the 16th century. If a father forbids his son to marry the wife of his choice, the son can disregard the father's instructions. In general, some of the most significant medieval rabbis seem to have held that there is no blanket obligation for a child to obey his or her parents. Obedience, they argue, is simply not what the Torah means by honor. On the other hand, and I realize we're running out of hands. On the other hand, we're up to four hands. Not being obligated to obey parents does not constitute permission to ignore them. In fact, the commitment not to ignore parents as they get older, not to cast them aside, arguably lies at the very heart of the fifth commandment. Consider the broader context that this commandment fits. The 10 commandments as a whole are addressed to adults, not really to children. It doesn't make sense to admonish children not to covet or not to commit adultery. These commandments are not aimed at children. They are adult commandments. And in this context, it would seem that the central concern of the obligation of honoring one's parents is how grown children treat their parents. This is not about little children or teenagers. This is about we as adults. Its concern is for the older parents, the weaker and the needier within the relationship, that they not be regarded by grown children as unimportant and burdensome. The urgent underlying message for our time is that our worth as human beings derives not from our jobs or how much we can produce, but from the simple fact that we are created b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God. In traditional societies, it was understood that parents would remain in their homes as they got older, assisted by one or more of the children they raised. For many in our contemporary society, that understanding rightfully has changed. Old age and infirmity have shifted from a shared multi-generational responsibility to a more private state, something unfortunately experienced often alone or with the support of doctors and institutions. Now, whether or not this should or can be reversed, we nonetheless must explore how to improve ways in which grown children can respond to parents with kindness, with humanity, with respect, and with honor. On the high holidays, we chant Shema Kolenu, and we cite the words of the psalmist, Al tashlichenu le'etzikna, kichlot kochenu al ta'azvenu. Do not cast me off in old age. When my strength fails me, do not forsake me. Despite the enormous challenges, psychologically, socially, and economically, the fifth commandment urges a much needed conversation as to how we as a society care for our elderly. The honor we pay to those who are elderly must, in the words of the rabbi, reflect the honor that is due God. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to turn back in our Sidurim, page 47. We rise for Vayechulu. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam vayechal Elohim bayom hashivim l'avdo asher asa vayitbot bayom hashivim yikom l'avdo asher asa vayivarech Elohim et yom hashivim vayikadesh oto כי בו שבת מקום מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו אלוהי אברהם אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב אלוהי שרה אלוהי רבקה אלוהי רחל אלוהי לאה האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, קונה שמיים וארץ, מגן אבות בדברו, מחיה מתים במאמרו, האל הקדוש אין כמוהו, המניח לימו ביום שבת קודשו, כי בם רצה להניח להם, כי בם רצה להניח להם, לפניו נעבור ביראה ופחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד, מן הברכות אל ההודעות אדון השלום מקדש השבת וברך שביעי ומניח בקדושה לימדו שני עונג זכר למעשה בראשית. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו רצה במנוחתנו קדשנו במצוותיך ותן חלקנו בתורתך צוונו מטובך ושמחנו בישועתך וטהר ליבנו לעבדך באמת והגילנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה וברצון שבת קודשך ואנוכו בישראל מקדש שמך ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. יתקרב יקדש שמי רבה מן ביום דברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון ובימכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה בזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם עולם ימיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלש מקודשה בריחו לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תפארתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא ויאמרו אמן. תקבל צלות הון ובאות הון בכל ישראל קודם אבל הון ושמיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו amen.
We had a special request for the Kiddush. Ariela's birthday is tomorrow.
Yay! Take it away.
Thank you. I have my Chabad grape juice.
Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah, it's very mini. It's a mini grape juice.
And they'll be happy you're making a bracha and bring us one step closer to Mashiach.
Absolutely. And I have some flowers from Hillel as well. Very nice.
So
That's
nice.
Savri Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishan v'tzotav v'ratzav banu. V'shavak kosho v'yavad ratzon yichilanu. Zikaron l'maaseh b'reishit. Ki hu yom techila l'mikra kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Ki banu v'acharta Yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodeshecha b'yavad ratzon yichaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim. That was nice and quick. Saba would like that.
You got the speed, yeah.
I have Sava would love it. In my Siddur, I don't know if you guys can tell, I have a lot of notes from Vivian. Slow down.
Slow down.
I'll remember it next time.
Having tutored the teller children for B'nai Mitzvah, I know the word slow down is a key word.
I got that a lot from you.
Yeah, you'll find it all throughout my Bar Mitzvah Siddur.
So you've given a new meaning to the word chugging. Now you're on to chugging Shabbat wine.
There you go.
Shabbat grape juice.
A little bit.
Hey, it's a good thing. Go for it.
Oh, horrible. Page 51, Aleinu.
You have an alternative, Mark?
Chugging Manischewitz is just not in the realm of possibility. Page 51. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol atikdu la liyotzer brishit shelo asanu ki goyei aratzor velo samanu k'mitpagod ha'adama shelo sam chalkenu kahem v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu koreim ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ מוצא ויקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים הוא אלוהינו אינו אמת מלכנו בזולתו כתבו בתורתו Yadata yom bashivota Elivavecha ki Adonai hua Elohim Bashamayim yemal Yalaret Mitachat Enod Kakatu b'Torah tekananayim loch le'alam bo'er v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech kol haaretz bayom ha'hu yeh Adonai echad u'shmo in this Shabbat, our hearts go out to the families of Rabbi Gerald Teller and Julian Schneider. We're observing the yahrzeits of Freda Aronowitz, Irene Berger, Frank Dye, Nettie Eigler, Reba Friedman, Alan Goldsmith, Henrietta Hochschild, Raven Jarnitsky, Ben Leva, Isidore Levine, Chaim Marcus, Shlomo Margalit, Stasia Prizant, Becky Rochnowitz, Jack Ross, Seymour Schlackman, Shirley Schneider, Rosemary Schumacher, Manny Silverstein, Jean Susan, Jacob Sokolnik, Lynette Weissman, and Faye Weinig. Words of Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 52.
Yit Gadal, Vit Kadash, Be'alma, Yivrak, Yamlit, Hayechon, Yomon, Be'ez, Kabbalat, Bisman, Purim, Yehesh, Yeporach, Vishmarach,
Amen. Me'evel l'simcha. As a community, we mark and we celebrate different moments in life. And so I see that Arlene and Ben Geffen are here, and they're celebrating 30 years of marriage. We want to wish you a happy anniversary. We want to wish you many, many more years in good health together and lots of joy. We also have a number of birthdays. David Lewis, Morris Narunsky, Marlene Rocker, and I understand Ariella Teller. So to you, we say happy birthday. Until 120, lots of good stuff. I hope you get great presents, everyone. Always. Happy birthday, happy birthday. A couple of announcements. Tomorrow morning services are at 9:30. We'll be celebrating the bar mitzvah of Vincent Wollner. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, we will have a Havdalah Ma'arif service, during which Rabbi Teller will recite Kaddish. Every morning during the week at 9 o'clock, please join us here on Zoom for Morning Minyan. And then Sunday evening again at 5:30, we will be back for the last evening of Shiva with the Teller family. Sunday morning, I want to invite you at 10 o'clock. We'll be continuing on with the course on the history of anti-Semitism and lots of other stuff. Please take a look at the Boker Tov that comes out each morning. And a special thank you to all the people who care so much for the Tellers and have made so many donations in their honor. that it's truly inspiring, Rabbi, when you have an opportunity to see the list of how many people have expressed through action their love for you. It's truly, truly awe-inspiring. Truly awe-inspiring. So we're going to conclude with the words of Hatikva, page 395. We ask you to please rise. O Lord, believe apnima nefesh Yehudi homia ulfate mizrakadima ayin letzion Sophia. Oh Lord, Atikvatenu, Hativa Bachnot Abayim, Liotam Chofshi Be'artzenu, Eretz Zion Yerushalayim, Liotam Chofshi Be'artzenu, Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. Shabbat Shalom, and we'll extend the blessings to everybody. Joyce, in answer to your question, yes. Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
In hiratzon.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichonecha.
In hiratzon.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasim lecha shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Vanessa.
Shabbat Shalom.
Vanessa, I called Vincent Wollner, right? He's having his bar mitzvah tomorrow. And I told him, on Shabbat, we come together as a community. So I'm here during Shabbat, and look forward to celebrating with him. And I also told him it's going to be extra special because my bar mitzvah with my father was so special. I told Vincent he's so lucky, that he's going to have this bar mitzvah and his father's by his side. And so please tell Alan that too. I'm looking forward to his bar mitzvah. And
Absolutely.
It's going to be even more meaningful.
Yes,
Right.
and our hearts go with you, your family. We are next to you. We are sharing everything, and we are happy to have you in our life. All our love to you and all your family.
Thank you.
Nava, we love you, Nava.
Shabbat
We love
Shalom.
you and everybody, all the Taylor family. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Charlotte, how are you? It's nice to hear from your rabbi. Unmute. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
No, I
Yeah.
can't.
Charlotte, hello.
Yeah, I was going to say it was so good to see him. I think he's looking well. He's
Oh
a
my
sweet-
God.
I
Yeah.
really enjoyed listening to the history of you and him and your father. I didn't realize that they were colleagues for so
Yeah, I
long.
didn't realize it either. Yeah, I forgot until until he reminded me. And he had mentioned it a while ago, but I forgot. And so I'm glad he reminded me.
Yes, so sweet man. I always love him. I will always love him. Changed my life. Changed my life, Rabbi. You guys have a way of doing that. Be careful. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Thanks for being here.
Shabbat Shalom.
Ben and Arlene, Mazel Tov.
Mazel Tov.
All right, look forward to seeing you soon.
Dad, I have a realization.
Yeah.
I realized that, how I always go really fast with davening and everything. And
And
tunes,
singing.
I like it very fast.
And melodies at the Shabbat table. You like to go at a quicker pace than the rest
And
of us.
songs in general.
Yeah. and song. And yeah, you're a quick singer. Yeah. What's your
I
realization?
decided that's what I took after Saba. Quick.
Okay, yeah. That quick. Yeah. You got to keep it moving. Move it along.
Yeah, everything. You gotta keep everything moving.
Just like Kenny Levine.
So I decided Dasi has the neshama part, and I got the fast-paced, quick.
Yeah,
Get
that's
to
right.
it.
So let's go.
Efficiency.
Efficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah, just gotta keep it going. Keep it going.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Shalom.
you. Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Ariella, see you.
Stay safe, sweet girl.
Thank you. Shabbat shalom.